All right, welcome back to day 2 of Astronomy Madness. Today we are going to be checking out the Warriors and Commanders round in the lower right. This is the Troy, Turkey region. Once again, I've got my lovely assistants here. We've got Lydia. Say hi, Lydia. And then running the big board back there, we got Cammie. Say hi, Cammie. All right. So before we get going today, let's just take a little bit of a look back at what went down yesterday. Yesterday, we had our first major bracket buster. So let's just talk about the math behind this just a little bit here. So we had a major bracket buster alert go down. We had a 3 seed, the very large array was defeated by the upstart 14 seed, the Arecibo radio telescope. And this is where research bonuses really come into play. It probably seems silly if you're a student to research this, but look at the difference in probability it makes. Without those research bonuses, Arecibo only had a 17.6% chance of an upset. But with the bonuses, it was getting a +2 because this Puerto Rico radio telescope was actually featured as a James Bond jungle death ray. That upped its odds to a 26.3% chance of an upset. So that's over a 1 out of 4 shot, which is pretty decent, and it did pull the upset. Luckily, somehow, out of the 166 people who are playing, not a single one of you had the very large array winning it all. So hopefully it's not the major bracket buster it otherwise would be. So let's take a quick look back and just do a little bit of overview. If this is the first time you're tuning in, we've got 4 regions that are going down here. And today we're in the lower right region of Troy, Turkey, which is featuring Warriors and Commanders. All right, so into the action as we go here. Our first matchup is top-seeded George Washington against 16th seeded General Douglas MacArthur. So no research bonuses here. Lydia, we're going to need 16 blue chips in the hat and then 1 pink chip, please. So a little bit of background here. The favored seeds, the higher seeds, always get the blue chips, and then the underdogs are going to get the pink chips. So just a little bit of background on both. General George Washington probably needs no explanation. He was the commander of the Continental Army, and he helped gain our independence against the British, and he also served as the first United States president. General Douglas MacArthur, though, Supreme Allied Commander, and he also led the rebuilding of Japan after World War II. All right, so our first shake of the day, we're going to have top of the bucket here, Lydia. Blue chip for George Washington, just 1 single pink chip in there for Douglas MacArthur. Would probably help everybody out if you pick the blue. Top of the bucket. What? Are you kidding me? Did that seriously just go down? Folks, this was a 1 out of 17 chance. This is a 1 out of 17 chance. Are you serious, Lydia? That just happened? Friends, that's the madness. As an American, this hurts me. George Washington goes down. He does not get to round 2. This is General Douglas MacArthur pulls the upset. That's only our second 16 seed in Astronomy Madness history to go on. What are your thoughts on this, Lydia?
I don't know how that just happened.
Wow. We shook the bucket pretty good, right? We had it shaken.
And I had the pink one at the bottom.
Wow. That's the madness right there. Friends, that's going to hurt a lot of brackets. And I mean a lot of brackets. All right, we have no choice. We've got to move on. We've got to move on to our next one. All right, so next up, we've got 9-seeded Miyamoto Musashi against 8-seeded Sun Tzu. And so we have no actual research bonuses in play. Lydia, we're going to need 9 blue chips for Sun Tzu, 8 pink chips for Miyamoto Musashi. So a little bit of background on the two. Let's start with the underdog of Musashi. He was a samurai, philosopher, swordsman, a strategist. He had a 61-0 record in duels. So how would you like to be that 61st guy, knowing you're going up against a samurai that was 60-0? And he lived from the late 1500s to the early 1600s, still a hero in Japan today. And then we have Chinese general and military strategist Sun Tzu. He is very well known for his Art of War, which a lot of leaders still read today. He lived from 544 to 496 BC. He is not saddled with the -2 research bonus because he was not an actual ruler. He was just a military advisor. So he is a straight up 8 seed. So back to the action here, Lydia. Man, a lot of brackets busted already here. All right, so we've got the blue chips representing Sun Tzu, and we're going bottom this time. And then we got the pink chips representing Miyamoto Musashi. All right, bottom of the pot, dig as deep as you can. And we got a blue chip. All right, the samurai Sun Tzu, the Chinese military strategist Sun Tzu defeats the samurai. He is going to face the unexpected General Douglas MacArthur in round number 2. Good job, Lydia. Yeah, we might as well separate him. Okay, Tammy, move on. Let's see, you got MacArthur. That's really good. Move on, Miyamoto Musashi, the 8 seed. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, Cammy, you're right. I'm sorry. Move Sun Tzu on the 8 seed. Yeah, he was the favorite one. Good catch there, Cammy, at the big board. All right. So next up, we've got our first 5-12. And by the way, a little bit of background. The lower right region historically has always been where the crazy upsets go down. So as the shock of Washington going down is wearing off, this should not surprise you as much as it initially did, because the lower right region is where crazy stuff goes down. All right, we've got Genghis Khan up against Richard the Lionheart. Khan is the 5 seed, but he's down 2 chips for the research bonus because he ruled Mongolia, which would be east of Europe and west of Japan, so the -2 triggers. And then Richard the Lionheart is going to get a +1 because he's a 12 seed, and all the 12 seeds get a +1 to try to encourage some upsets. So Lydia, I'm going to need 10 blue chips for Genghis Khan, and I'm going to need 6 pink chips for Richard the Lionheart. 10 blues, 6 pinks. While Lydia is getting the pot ready, just a little bit of background here. Genghis Khan was the first great emperor of the Mongol Empire. He ruled from 1162 to 1227 AD. And Richard the Lionheart was King of England and Duke of Normandy. And he was alive from 1157 to 1199 AD. Yeah, give it a good shake there, Lydia. Now, Dad's bracket, I've got Richard the Lionheart winning, but I had George Washington going the whole way to the championship. So I am pretty much busted at this point, unless Keck really keeps going here. All right, we're going left-hand side. And what do we got? Oh, we got a pink. We got another bracket buster, and I called that one. I feel good about that. Cammy, we are moving on 12-seeded Richard the Lionheart there. Good job, Lydia. So there, the research bonuses really came into play. Our favored seed was down 2 chips. Our underdog picked up 1 chip. So Richard the Lionheart is moving on. All right, next up, we've got Alexander the Great, a 4 seed, against William Wallace, a 13. Lydia, we are going to need 13 blues and 4 pinks. 13 blues and 4 pinks. So while Lydia is doing that, just a little bit of background so we can learn a little bit of military history here. Alexander the Great was king of Macedonia, which was part of Greece. He was an undefeated military leader. His kingdom at its height stretched the whole way from Greece into India. And he lived a relatively short life. He was born in 356, died in 323 BC. And of course, everybody knows William Wallace from Mel Gibson's portrayal of him in the movie Braveheart. Freedom! William Wallace was a Scottish knight. He was the leader during the First Scottish War of Independence. He also lived a relatively short life from 1270 to 1305 AD. All right, Lydia, this is going to be our fourth pick. So we're going right-hand side. So the blue chip is going to be Alexander the Great, pink chip, William Wallace. And we got a blue. All right, Alexander the Great, Cammie, is moving on as a 4 seed. And Lydia, I think Alexander the Great is actually looking pretty strong here because the top half of this bracket is now fairly depleted. He's got to be the favored seed going forward. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, all right. Next up in the lower half, we've got Vlad the Impaler, a 3 seed, against Saladin, a 14. Now, not only is Saladin already a 14 seed, but he's losing 2 points due to the research bonus. So, Lydia, this is going to be 14 blues for Vlad the Impaler and only 1 single pink for Saladin. So 14 blues for Vlad, 1 single pink for Saladin. And while Lydia is getting the pot ready there, let's talk a little bit about Vlad the Impaler. He was the ruler of what is now known as Romania, often called Vlad Dracula. And so a lot of the Dracula legends come from his cruelty. He was known for impaling his enemies on wooden spikes and then calmly eating dinner beneath them. He lived from 1428 to 1477 AD. Saladin is probably one of our lesser known tournament entrants. He was the first sultan of Egypt and Syria. His kingdom at its peak went from Egypt through the Middle East and down through North Africa. He was alive from 1137 to 1196 AD. And because he did rule east of Europe, but west of Japan, that's why he gets the -2 here. All right, so Vlad is going to be in blue. Saladin is going to be in pink. We're back to top of the barrel this time, top of the bucket.
Did we do right side?
Yeah, we did right side just last time. We're good. Don't question the madness, Lydia. And we got, no, that's our side. There we are. We got a blue. Okay, Vlad the Impaler is moving on. Cammie at the big board, number 3 seed, Vlad the Impaler is moving on there. By the way, the chips are double-sided. So one side, you can see the blue or pink. The back side is usually green, but then, yeah, in later years when we started to add research bonuses, we needed actually technically more chips than 16. So sometimes the back side is gold, but it's all totally legit. All right, next up, we've got Hannibal Barca against Spartacus. And both of these men are getting +1s because they both attacked the Roman empires at different times. So Lydia, this is going to be 12 chips for Hannibal Barca, the favored, and it's going to be, so 12 blue chips and then 7 pink chips for Spartacus. 12 blues and 7 pinks. So a little bit about these men. Hannibal Barca, or simply Hannibal, commanded Carthage's army against Rome in the Second Punic War. He was a general. He's considered one of the greatest military commanders in history. He lived from 247 to 181 BC. Spartacus was a gladiator and an escaped slave leader in an uprising against Rome. He lived from 111 to 71 BC, and famously, he was later portrayed by actor Kirk Douglas in the Stanley Kubrick film in 1960 of the same name. So we've got Hannibal here in blue, and we've got Spartacus in pink. Lydia, we are picking at the left-hand side. Left-hand side. Yeah, top side, then left side for the next pick. We got a blue. We've got Hannibal moving on as a 6 seed. All right, maybe the upsets have died themselves down. We will see. Cammie, how's it going over there at the big board? Pretty good? All right, we got 2 games to go. Next up, this should be a good one. This is 7-10. We've got Emperor Julius Caesar as the 7 seed, and we've got Leonidas I of Sparta as the 10. No research bonuses in play. Lydia, we're going to need 10 blue chips for Julius Caesar and 7 pink chips for Leonidas I. So 10 blues and 7 pinks. So a little bit of background on these men. Caesar, I'm sure you know, was a Roman statesman, a military general. He helped transition the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire. And he was eventually assassinated by up to 60 men in the Roman Senate. He lived from 100 to 44 BC. Leonidas I, for any of you who are fans of the more recent film 300, He was a warrior king of the Greek city-state of Sparta. And with a makeshift cobbled together force, he defended Greece from Xerxes, the Persian invasion at the narrow pass of Thermopylae. With his 300 Spartans, he had an army pieced together of only 4,000 to 7,000 men, and he was able to hold off the Persian army. Estimates range from 70,000 up to 300 Persian invaders. He died at Thermopylae trying to defend Greece in 480 BC. Okay, so we've got Caesar in blue. We've got Leonidas I in pink. And this is almost even odds, but not quite. Leonidas has a slight chip disadvantage. Can he pull off the upset? Right side. Right side. Oh, no, we got a blue. Caesar is moving on. Hail Caesar. Leonidas goes down. Wow. It's gotten pretty quiet here in the bottom half after some crazy upsets. All right, our final matchup of the opening round here. We've got second-seeded Achilles versus 15th-seeded Attila the Hun. Attila the Hun does get one extra chip because he did attack Rome. So, Lydia, for our last matchup today, this is going to be 15 blue chips for Achilles and 3 pink chips for Attila. So 15 blues and 3 pinks. So a little bit about them here. Attila the Hun was, of course, a leader of the Huns, and he was one of the most feared enemies of Rome. He relentlessly attacked the Roman Empire, and he lived from 453 BC to 434 BC. No, I'm sorry, I should say AD. 434 to 453 AD. And Achilles was a hero of the Trojan War depicted in Homer's Iliad. There are differing accounts on when he actually died. The most mainstream account is that he was struck by an arrow in the ankle, the heel, the Achilles heel, from Paris during the invasion of Troy. And that was the one place on his body where he was vulnerable, because that's where the goddesses supposedly held him by the ankle as they dipped him into the waters of immortality when he was born. So we've got Achilles as a 2 seed. We've got Attila the Hun as a 15. And with George Washington out of the picture, this bracket is just, this region is wide open. Lydia, bottom of the bucket, dig as deep as you can. Careful back there, Cammie. We got a blue. Achilles is moving on as a 2 seed, Cammie. Well done, Lydia. Well done. Well done. So it looks like after some upsets and some major bloodshed in the Warriors and Commanders region on the top half, the bottom half was pretty much chalk. So let's head over to the big board and let's see what our results are for today. Cammie, you're going to take us through in there, okay? All right, what do we got?
General Douglas
MacArthur. Sun Tzu.
Richard the Lionheart. No.
Yep.
Yes. Alexander the Great. Hannibal
Barca.
Vladimir Hitler, Julius Caesar, and Achilles.
All right, so after we had the huge upset of MacArthur moving on as a 16 and Richard the Lionheart as a 12, the rest there was basically chalk city, but those upsets are going to stick. So we're going to get this video posted. One quick shout out to my man, Mr. Brandis. If you haven't been to the Google Classroom Astronomy Madness page, he has some great hot takes and a primer for the opening round. You need to check that out. So for Mr. Krug and Cammie and Lydia, it's peace out until the next round. Let's hit Eye of the Tiger on our way out, girls. Oh, buffering, come on now.